Hello, I hope you're very well and enjoying this day. This is one more day that God gives us to enjoy and live a better world than the one we received. I am Jaime Elizondo of Real Wealth Ranching, where our focus is helping you to maximize your profits while you improve your land the fastest. Do you want to be the best at what you do? It is very commendable to try to be the best possible in what you do. And if your passion is your livestock farm, I suggest that you not only compare yourself with the worst, but also compare yourself with the best in the world. Let me explain. When I played basketball back in high school, we were the champions in our city of almost 1 million people. So we were good. But when we went out to play in other states, we quickly saw that we were not the best. So I decided right there to try to be the best in the world in whatever I am most passionate about. And that is helping ranchers maximize their profitability and the improvement of their land. I have learned that when I help someone to improve their profits and maximize them, I also learn, and it is very satisfying for me. But I don't want them to stay there, sitting on their triumph or success. I want them to seek to be the best, to not only in their community or geographical area, but the best in the world. And many will tell me, my environment is very difficult, and I cannot achieve the daily gains, age at first cabin, and real life fertility that they achieve in higher latitudes or at higher altitudes with higher quality pastures. And that is true if we only consider performance per animal. But what I teach is that we must consider profits per acre. That is more important, and even more so that the profitability or return in investment, ROI, because this is someone anyone understands. In that, in the profits per acre or return on investment is where the total grazing program shines over other programs or grazing styles. So what is needed to double the stocking rate on over any style of selective rotational grazing? You see, selective rotational grazing achieves progress or improvement over continuous or conventional grazing. Yes, but these results can be greatly improved if we advance to the next stage, the total grazing program. In the total grazing program, we begin by knowing how long-lived organic matter is really created in our soil. Long-lived organic matter is created by exudates, a high-energy liquid that the plant returns to the soil through its roots to feed soil life. Then, these soil microbes, fed by that high-energy liquid that the plant gives them to make the soil nutrients available for the plant. So far, so good, right? We now know that this very important long-lived organic matter is created with the bodies of these soil microbes. Up to 80% of this long-lived organic matter is created in this way and not by plant residues, as it was believed until about 9 years ago. So, could we believe that we can increase the content of long-lived organic matter with rotational grazing? Sadly, no. With rotational grazing, we will only create short-lived organic matter, which lasts a few months or years, but does not last up to 100 years in the soil like long-lived organic matter does. To form or create long-lived organic matter, the soil microbes need to be fat. Yes, fat. And that only happens when the exudates returned by the grass roots to the soil are fatty instead of sugary. Interesting, right? Well, when are the fatty root exudates created in your pastures? Only when you defer them to use them as standing hay in the dry or cold season of the year. That is one of the big differences between the total grazing program with other grazing systems. And they call them Voisin, rotational, AMP, intensive grazing management, etc. All these systems with different names do the same thing, selective grazing. Now to the most important thing. How come we typically double the number of productive animals in your farm in the first year compared to a rotational selective grazing system? Any of those that I mentioned. Due to the high harvest efficiency when grazing grass that has recovered enough. Yes, in the world, there are only two styles of grazing, non-selective and selective, no more. Selective grazing gives you a much lower harvest efficiency, right? Yes, because they select the best and reject the rest, so they harvest less, lower harvest efficiency. Now suppose that under a selective rotational grazing system, you have improved to double your stocking rate compared to the worst grazing system in the world, which is conventional continuous grazing. Remember my basketball story? Well, here is that it applies. Now, if you want to double the number of productive animals on your farm, maintained at a low cost, pay close attention. Thanks to the greater harvest efficiency of non-selective grazing on enough or sufficiently recovered plants, we can increase the stocking rate quickly, or we can save on hay or silage immediately. The decision will be made by each owner in his farm. So summing up, in the total grazing program, we can double the stocking rate on your farm compared to a selective rotational grazing system. We can create more long-lived organic matter in your soil, and this is the true fertility of your soil and lasts up to 100 years in your soil. It is also important to point out that we achieve this at a very low cost, essentially with proper grazing management, and without too much work, because I like to do things simply and in the most efficient way possible. Now, if you're doing continuous or conventional grazing, you will be interested in knowing that normally we increase the stocking rate 2 to 3 times quickly and 4 times in around 3 to 4 years, depending on your environment. In arid and semi-arid areas, improvement is even greater, up to 10 to 15 times more stocking rate. But it takes a little longer depending on the rainfall each year, which varies greatly in these environments, arid and semi-arid. And since it takes a while to build the minimum and flexible infrastructure due to the size of a ranch in an arid or semi-arid area, progress will not be as fast as if the infrastructure was already in place if they had a grazing system already installed. It is much easier to start with an already installed grazing system and only implement the next stage, the total grazing program, to begin to increase stocking rate, save on supplemental hay or silage, and improve the soil much faster with greater creation of long-term organic matter, which is the true fertility of our soils. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. As always, follow me on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook under Real World Ranching by Jim Elizondo. On my website, www.rwranching.com, where you can subscribe to my weekly podcast, which is also free. May God bless you and your family, and have a great week. See you next week.